Um, MikeVonAwesome here. I want to explain bad guys. Every campaign pretty much needs one. You know, you want to have that nice, that crispy end result where it's you versus the other guys. It's us and them. It's me. The differentiation between the two and the problems that come about are very important to a campaign. Typically, I think you can get a campaign without a villain if you wanted to, but even then, you still have such small amounts of opposition here and there, and not everybody is always all together, or else you have the Care Bears, and even they had a bad guy, I think, if I remember correctly. The Dungeon Master's Guide has a resource where you can actually roll a good guy or bad guy or whomever. It's got quite a bit yeah, you want a gold digger, that's fine. You want somebody who tries to get into child sex trafficking, yeah, you can roll for that. I don't know if you could actually roll for that. The gold digger, though, that's without a doubt. Wealth number 3, I think. That's yeah. I will roll for a bad guy right now to explain something that you can get. So, rolling a 9 on the first table allowed me to figure out that my villain's methods are impersonation and disguise, and his weakness is a weapon that that deals extra damage when you attack him with it. This specific villain is fueled by revenge, and he is trying to retrieve stolen property and wishes to punish the thief. So with this alone, how would I craft this into a bad guy? Well, I think you have more than enough grounds to go with either route of main bad guy. There's 2 types of bad guys, in my opinion. There is Apocalypse and Thanos. Darkseid, the Riddler. Penguin, the Joker. You have your bad guy on one side who just wishes everything that is not bad to suffer and die. And you have your bad guy on the other side who wants to complete a goal, but chooses the worst way to do it. Be like, oh, we're out of milk. Oh, that's too bad. I'll abduct every cow in the world and have them all at my beck and call. No one will have hamburgers ever again, but I get what I need. It's like, what? Why do you have to be so... just fucking... what? Like... the Thanos approach, where everything seems a little overpopulated, kind of crowded. It's not really enjoyable. That was your solution? Really? You couldn't have just made new planets that they could live on? You had to fucking put the axe on half of everything? It's rough. Both bad guys are acceptable. For what I rolled, I would make this a Thanos bad guy. He would be in it to win it, trying to gain some sort of a... let's see. I'm coming up with this off on the spot. He would be a shapeshifter, without a doubt. A changeling of some kind. And have the ability to continue changing his form so nobody really know what he looks like. There would be a blade that happened to, when you struck a changeling with it, it would make him show to his original form, and he'd be unable to change. So it'd be a huge strike. It'd be a massive blow to this bad guy type. He would try to take some sort of orb of power that was feeding power into a large city. He wanted to destroy the city and take the power orb that they were using to imprison a very large, scary beast. There's an astral dreadnought living underneath this place, and if the crystal were to leave the place that it sit on, it would wake it from its captivity. And it would probably take over, it would destroy everything. I don't know. That's just out of my ass from what I rolled. That's the most sense I could make out of it. And just like that, I created a bad guy who... actually, that's much more... that doesn't really fit the Thanos thing at all. That's definitely a kill everything kind of bad guy, just for the sake of killing everything. He wanted his little gem back, and it was worth to him. It was worth... the worth that it was to him was more than that of the whole entire city and potentially the world. He's just a greedy asshole, basically. Or she. women can be monsters too. I'm gonna roll one more just to see the difference. I want to get a Thanos guy going on here. Oh, see, this is the Thanos bad guy already in the making. He's fueled by mayhem, and his goal is to release a contagion. That sounds very Thanos-esque. You can easily turn this to be a greater cause kind of thing. For some reason, I got a 9 twice and a d20. That's better. This bad guy's way that he gets around, his main methods and stuff like that is execution, specifically beheading. And this his weakness is that he struck some sort of bargain a long time ago. And if the mystic power that be behind that bargain ends up, he loses his power if conditions are met. So what do you do with a bad guy like this? He's kind of all over the place a little bit. I'm kind of feeling more of maybe Goliath, just based on the fact that he is a head taker. As far as a vile... Oh, never mind. There you go. He's a Fearbolg. That makes more sense. He's a Fearbolg. He takes heads and puts them on spikes wherever he goes as a sign to show like, hey, bitches, this is my fucking territory. I would still make him a druid, however. And his whole thing is he wants to spread a vile contagion. So that way... he can allow plant life to regrow. It would be something that vegetates things over a certain level of intelligence. So woodland creatures, animals, trees, plants, all that stuff will be fine. So it can do what it needs to do. However, everybody else will be brain dead, and then in their vegetative state, as long as they're not on some sort of life support, they're doomed to die. It would let the most primitive of people that are very dumb survive, so it wouldn't wipe out all of humanity even either. The dumb ones would live, and if humanity is destined, they will eventually come back and rise into power. These are the kind of bad guys, though, he as a Fearbolg would find a way to nullify his species from getting caught in it, probably. He'd have some sort of tragic backstory where humans came in and they chopped down basically his home and killed off his brethren because they wanted to build something or something. Now, this is just based on me rolling, and rolling is hard because sometimes you get incompatible features. I think that as long as you have a bad guy that fits one of the two schemes, you're golden. Or even one where the bad guy... yeah, he can kill everything that he wants to now because at one point, a long time ago, he saved everything. It's the hero that lived too long to watch himself become a villain kind of archetype. Which those villains, yeah, they'll fit one of the two, in my opinion, villain types. If you start with that, if you understand the goal of your villain, if you sometimes, you don't even have to always do it, create an issue that will kill your villain, a weakness, maybe your main villain is a vampire. Vampires have plenty of weaknesses. Maybe you want to actually homebrew the whole silver can kill them, you know, because the vampires in 5e are kind of not weak to the right things, in my opinion. Silver's not even mentioned. Holy water's not even mentioned, but running water can kill them, at least damage them. Pretty much it's only like stake to the heart, and even then they're not really dead. They're just paralyzed. Vampires are tricky beasts in Dungeons and Dragons in 5th edition. Yeah, you just pick something that you know to be a good bad guy in your mind. And that's a good place to start. And don't just come up with one either. That's another really important thing. Come up with one if you plan your campaign to only last 5 sessions and then be done. You know, you can have one bad guy and several underlings. If you plan your campaign to last a long time, create several bad guys at varying challenge ratings to start with. Have them have a goal that takes a certain amount of time to complete, and make sure that there's enough hearsay in different places, different taverns. Have an old guy in there and he's like, oh, there's a beast up in that castle over on the mountainside. Nobody ever goes to see it because they die, you know, they don't make it back when they try to go on adventurings. So, it turns out that if you get up there, you find the mad doctor that kills people with a horde of zombies in front of his castle, stitches them together, and he's trying to make an abomination, you know. Just and his goal would be, well, I want a better science. I'm finding ways to let people live forever. They're living as horrifying abominations, but hey, they get eternal life, and screw the elves for living for thousands of years. I can make people that live that long too. Maybe an elf took his wife and bedded her. I don't know. I'm just coming up with this on the spot. Don't sue me. Whatever. Creating a bad guy is very easy. You just need to, pull one from comic books, even if you have to. If you can't come up with something creativity oriented, then maybe you shouldn't be DMing. But if they hand you the crown and say, we are your faithful peasants, DM us, take something directly from somewhere that already exists. Now, if you do that, don't get mad if one of your players is like, did you make Dr. Octopus? Is he going to sit in a wharf somewhere and try to create this big ball of power using his newly found appendages because you're taking it directly from the movie, which was not a good adaptation of Dr. Octopus? Either way, as long as you're aware that your bad guy may die the first time that your opponents find him, your players, your peasants, the first time that they find your bad guy, they might kill it right then and there. Create an exit strategy for your bad guy in the first few instances if you want him to keep coming back and saying, I'll get you next time. Otherwise, just keep it really mysterious. Keep it very interesting, though, so your players actually have an investment to go try to stop it. Or at least to have the wherewithal to be interested enough to find out more about it. I don't ever guide my players. I don't force them to do anything. So if for a GM like me, I need to constantly have the little boy in the corner, extra, read all about it. Another family went missing. Just to let them overhear it and be like, what do you know about this? And then when you try to sell them the newspaper for 1 gold and they don't buy it, then they don't find out anything about it, and they're still clueless players because they didn't want to spend 1 gold for it. You have to realize that your players will never take the lead the first several times. But that's okay. Every time that your players negate trying to find a lead, they don't want to pull the string and see where it leads, then you have a right to raise your challenge rating. Oh shit. You didn't realize that there was this total thing, and since you didn't try to stop it there, yeah, he did find several more partying adventures and stitched them together, and now he made several other abominations. He got really good at it, and now his abominations are fucking choice. Now he could start working with other things. Turns out he's gonna go to his next fucking area, take over a castle that previously existed with normal humans, stitch up everybody, and he knows that castle is nearby, very closely adjacent to troll territory. Now he's going to start doing it with trolls and try to see if he can give his abominations regenerative properties. You've just raised the bar for that bad guy being a lot worse. And maybe they don't stop him there either. Maybe then he finds a spot that has demons, and he wants to try to see if he can get demons in this abomination. So by the time that your players finally start to take whiff of it, is because, yeah, there is a regenerative stitched up super Tarask, and they have to fight that. Your players all die. Better luck next time. They let the bad guy get way too out of power, ranges that they could even hope to stop, and that makes for, a good campaign in my book. It starts off with something very minuscule, like, oh yeah, he came into the town and he fucked with everybody and he stabbed my best horse. And then it starts to get into territory like, oh, now this group of bad guys tried to imprison, tried to get the legal system to fight this group, because your bad guys consist of several different people of different intelligence levels. They all have their own small plan. It's your Legion of Doom. That's what I've got going on. And the Legion of Doom all still has a goal, and when you have a council that's bad, now you have people of both types of bad guys. And yeah, my Legion of Doom is constantly fucking with these people. They just don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes because they have yet to find a way to track down these people when they try to escape. Be it through Dimension Door, polymorphing into a giant eagle and physically flying away. Like, they've managed to escape every time, so they've never been able to corner one of these people yet. I could slowly flesh out this group and make them canon as they become necessary. Dungeon Master's Guide's a great resource, like I said, to at least come up with some sort of an idea. Don't even have to roll for it. Just read them all and pick the ones you like. Don't force your players to fight them either. If your players all lose because the bad guy got too big, so be it. I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to mention. This is MikeVonAwesome, signing out. I'm really interested in making that changeling. That'd be a good bad guy. The Fearbolg would be a good bad guy too. Somebody use that in one of your campaigns and let me know how it goes. Yeah, I'm gonna turn the whole world. Fearbolgs are so fucking... My Fearbolgs, I feel, are Canadian. They would never do that, but it just takes one. Just takes one with a bad experience.